Welcome to Chi-Town Cigar Podcast, the podcast where three Chicago guys light up a fine cigar and get into everything from sports and current events to hobbies, life's little moments, and everything in between. Whether you're here for the cigars, the conversation, or just some good laughs, we got you covered. So grab your favorite smoke, settle in, and join us for laid-back chats with a Chicago twist. Now it's time to put some smoke in the air.
It's Tuesday night in the Windy City, and that means another episode of Chi-Town Cigars. We're brands meet cigar enthusiasts. Whether you're joining us live or catching the replay, we're glad you're here. Every week, we bring together premium cigar enthusiasts, industry leaders, brand owners, master blenders, and the people behind the cigars we all enjoy so much. So pull up a chair, light your favorite cigar. Welcome to the Virtual Cigar Lounge. Now let's settle in and start the conversation. Marty, how you doing, buddy?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Sweating like a pig here.
Oh yeah. Man. We're in the middle of corn sweats.
Yeah, we are. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon, where everybody's at. Fireborn is on his way home from work, so he'll be joining us. Matt Brugger, good evening. Glad to see you. TX, what's going on, buddy? David K, glad to see you. Slashua, what's happening, brother? And Fireborn made it. Hardly anyone died on my drive home, but he made it. Awesome. So we got a jam-packed show. It's just Marty and I tonight. Teddy is off. So I want to jump into this because our two guests are definitely going to be interesting and be fun to talk to. So let us bring them both on.
Let's do it.
Should I run? Let me run this in here. Hold on a second. Oh. I'm way off. I'm way off tonight. Oh man, I'm trying to do way too much today. Around here, we always say every cigar has a story. Tonight, we find out that every barrel has one too. We're stepping into the world of exceptional whiskey with two gentlemen who have helped change the way enthusiasts think about independent bottling. Back in 2011, Joshua Hatton and Jason Johnston Yellen founded Single Cask Nation with a simple idea: find extraordinary single casks, bottle them with honesty and transparency, share them with people who truly appreciate great whiskey. What started as a passion project has grown into one of the most independent and respected bottlers in the world, earning a loyal following among whiskey enthusiasts. If you're a cigar enthusiast, you probably recognize some familiar themes like premium cigars. Every single cask tells its own story. Every barrel is unique. Every release is limited, and every bottle offers a one-of-a-kind experience that can never be exactly duplicated beyond their acclaimed bottling. Joshua and Jason also host the One Nation Under Whiskey podcast, where they mix deep industry knowledge with great conversation, humor, and a genuine passion for the craft. And since we're probably based in Chicago, we're especially excited that they're bringing back one of the whiskey's most beloved events, Whiskey Jewbilee. Yes, it is spelled Jewbilee, right here in Chicago this October. Returning after an 8-year hiatus, the festival celebrates 15 years. A Single Cask Nation will bring together whiskey lovers from across the country for an evening of incredible pours, education, camaraderie, and yes, even cigars. So tonight we're going to talk about whiskey and cigars. It's a long introduction.
That's a good one, though.
Whiskey and cigars. What could be better?
That's it. So before we get rolling, what's everybody smoking tonight? Marty? Go ahead, Josh.
Yes.
No, go ahead.
Guess first, for sure.
So this is our 2026 collaboration with Aganorsa Leaf. And this is our latest one that we put inside this particular cask. And now we're going to be talking about this. So I'm drinking the whiskey that went along with the cigar. I figured perfect pairing.
Nice.
And Jonathan, what are you smoking?
Same thing. I might as well, we're here. We're going to talk about the cigar. I might as well smoke the cigar. Unfortunately, since I don't have a Single Cask Nation bottle on me, I'm gonna do a little flex for those who are Kilhoman nuts like myself. This was an orange muscat finish that is just ridiculous. Released earlier this year for lunatics like myself on the Kilhoman Facebook group. It's absolutely delicious.
Nice. Marty?
I am smoking the Aganorsa Reviver Maduro.
Nice.
Cigar Dojo.
Yeah, Cigar Dojo. And I've got a Maker's Mark 46 cask strength.
And I'm going really OG. I'm going with the 2024 version of the Single Cask Nation. I was telling Joshua before the show, I bought 2 boxes of these, and I'm really nursing this last box because this is probably one of my all-time favorite cigars. I absolutely love this cigar. And I am smoking it with, I'm drinking it with, I can't pronounce this, but it's
Kregaliki.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Kregaliki. Oh yeah.
Kregaliki 13. Delicious. Delicious.
Yes. Man, that's a staple on my shelf. I always have a bottle of that.
Yeah, it's really good. I really like this a lot. So yeah, so I thought, well, it's a Scotch show. Let's break out the Scotch and we'll talk. So awesome. So Single Cask Nation, Single Cask, take us back to 2011. What were you guys thinking? What literally were you guys thinking?
Yeah. So, back then, Jason and I, and Jason apologizes that he couldn't be here. He couldn't make it. So, he does apologize for that. So what were we thinking? He was a whiskey blogger. I was a whiskey blogger. This was at a time when there really weren't many of them. Mm-hmm. And both of us we wanted to get out of our jobs. He was a professor of philosophy at Washington State University, and I was selling industrial storage products. And we found that, like, at any given day, there was about 2,000 people or so coming to our individual blogs, wanting to know what we thought about other people's whiskey. Mm-hmm. And I got this idea. I said, there's distilleries sending us whiskey. There's importers sending us whiskey. What if we could buy liquid from these distilleries and work with an importer and bottle some stuff and import it? And we'd never been entrepreneurs in our life. We just had, all the confidence of middle-aged white men to make something happen. And we did, year one, we bottled 3 casks, and one of them was a Kilhoman, like Jonathan has here. And, we were just 2 guys who put our own cash into this business. And, here we are 15 years later, and, we're in 11 countries now and growing. And we went from bottling 3 casks in 1 year to bottling 100 casks a year. Wow. Like it's grown tremendously. So yeah, it's become quite a thing.
That is just, I mean, it's necessity. It's sort of like, hey, what are we going to do to get out of what we're into? So it's awesome that you guys took that, but I mean, the success is just fantastic. And it's, you guys sort of hit it at the right point, I guess, because the boom sort of has taken off and everybody's into whiskey and bourbons and Scotch and whatever you can possibly come up with. So I think the timing was absolutely perfect.
Yeah, and the idea of it too was, if people were coming to us wanting to know our opinion, they thought we had good palates. So we figured, let's bottle things that we fell in love with. And if people joined us on that journey, fantastic. If they shared a palate, fantastic. So that's what we do. We bottle what we fall in love with. So if you came to my house, I'd be proud to share it with you. That's our aim at all times. Just being whiskey geeks, bottling what we love, Yeah.
It's so similar to the cigar industry and it's the cigar lifestyle, because I think it's the same thing. If we enjoy smoking a certain cigar and you're at our house, hey, try this. You enjoy. Hey, try this. You're gonna really like it. So I think it's the similarities are just amazing. And at the same point, I think so many of us seek out, how do we pair something well with the cigar we're smoking? The staple is coffee. But he says, hey, coffee pairs with everything.
Yeah.
But at the same point, then it's to turn around and go, what do I pair with this cigar? And how does it complement it? Or how does it, what are the nuances to bring out certain flavors of this whiskey or of the cigar? So it's fantastic.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think it's always but it's always subjective, right? Right. I mean, people get cigars and whiskey, or cigars and wine, cigars and coffee, right? Or just or various foods with whiskey. Sometimes even like having a steak, having a cigar after a steak, same exact thing.
Mhm.
Like it helps with the digestive. Your mouth's all full of that red meat and stuff like that. I mean, just on that note, it's very funny. I was very fortunate enough. I was helping to sell an estate recently. I had some incredibly rare scotches. I had a 30-year-old Balvenie, a 30-year-old Glenfiddich, an 18-year-old Mizunara from Yamazaki, and a 50-year-old Glenfarclas. And I was pairing it with Sour Patch Kids. And the whole reason for that was the highbrow, lowbrow type thing about like, when will I have the opportunity to do this ever again? And it's all subjective and it's fun, right? That's the whole thing. I think also what Single Cask Nation, emphasizes. Just take the seriousness out of the pairing, the notes and all that. Just have fun with it. I mean, It's a freaking cigar. It's a freaking scotch. Do what you want. It's all subjective and enjoy it. If you like coffee with it, God bless. That's it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And I think you guys are right in line with our whole philosophy with cigars, our podcast, because we can tell you we smoke this cigar and we get chocolate, nuts, leather, and you're going to smoke and go, where'd you ever come? Don't worry about it. If you like it, smoke it. Don't worry about what I say. I'm going to tell you I'm going to tell you what notes I'm getting. But if you like it, fine. If you don't like it, it's okay. It's again, the beauty of this industry of going, there's thousands of cigars out there. Not everybody's going to like every single one. So I might like something and you might not, and vice versa. So
yeah. Yep. Yeah. One of the things that I like too about the similarities between the whiskey world and the cigar world is that camaraderie. Yeah, I think it really brings people together in a very cool way. And like sometimes the focus is the cigar or the whiskey, and sometimes that is the backdrop to the conversation, to people hanging out and just having a great time. And I love that. This is what I love about both industries.
Yeah, I often wonder if it'd be nice to be able to have sort of a whiskey lounge. We have cigar lounges, and you have and so you can go in there and sit there and try. It'd be nice to sort of have almost the same type of atmosphere. But of course, people always get carried away when it comes to liquor and stuff like that. So I think it's a little bit more difficult. But I just think the experiences I've had in cigar lounges are the same thing that you're saying. Hey, try this. Take it for this. The difference is sometimes that pour is a whole heck of a lot more expensive than the cigar that you're passing around.
Well, you guys are blessed in Chicago with Delilah's, so we love Delilah's. So let's even though it's not a whiskey lounge because it's a very funky motif, but man, what a special place to go to every time you're in Chicago.
It's funny you say that, because that was it is a. I hope I hope I don't get crucified by saying this, but I think it's an Xavier College hangout, because my brother-in-law went to Xavier and he had his birthday party there, and it was the first time I was ever in the place, and I'm like, what is going on here? So yeah, it is definitely funky. It is definitely a funky lounge.
But I will tell you, you can taste some rare stuff there, very affordable. That Mike does a great job over there. He's awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I'll have to definitely check it. I like I said, I've been there, but I have to go back for the whiskey this time.
Yeah, so. Huge whiskey collection, well curated, and easygoing. Like it's a punk rock bar that has crazy Scotch whiskeys, crazy bourbons, and really kick-ass beers as well. So yeah, it's worth your time checking it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marty, I'm going to pause.
You are? My turn? Is that what you're saying?
Go ahead. Yes, it is. It is.
So I'm going to show like my ignorance of like Scotch. Like,
yeah,
I definitely know a lot more about cigars than I know about whiskey. And I know a lot more about bourbon than I know about Scotch. And I hardly know anything about Scotch. Are you guys focused a lot more on Scotch or bourbon or some of both? Or how does that work?
Yeah, so when we started the company, it was that, and to be honest, it remains that, as independent bottlers, we even follow this tradition of Scottish independent bottling. And so what does that mean, right? So here's our bottle. Here's the big brand, that's us, and we always highlight where it came from. The difference between Scottish independent bottling, that's that style, and say what we do here in the US is, here in the US, a brand will buy whiskey from a bourbon distillery and create a brand around it, not necessarily telling you where that whiskey's been sourced. Those are the two different styles, right? When we started the company, we wanted to go the traditional Scottish way of independent bottling. And both Jason and I are Scotch whiskey first and foremost. He's a Scotsman who moved here to the US. Having said that, though, we bottle plenty of bourbon, plenty of rye, a fair amount of American single malt as well. For about 8 years straight, we were I think the only independent bottler to do Wild Turkey. We had a contract with Wild Turkey to put their name on our bottle. And you mentioned the whiskey Jewbilee. On the outset, we always do a festival bottling for that. And those have traditionally been American whiskeys, whether it was from Heaven Hill, or we did a collaboration with High West and Westland and a few others. So yeah, we do some American whiskeys, but Scotch tends to be our love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I even had to go so far as to research, like, what's the difference between a cask and a barrel? Like bourbon, you get single barrels.
Mm-hmm.
Scotch, you get casks, and I guess because casks can be a lot of different sizes, and a barrel is 53 gallons or something.
So technically speaking, a barrel is a cask. A barrel is a size designation of a cask, meaning it is 53. It's a 53-gallon cask, size designation being a barrel. And then you've got a hogshead, which is 60 gallons, a butt, which is 120 gallons, right? And these are just, the wine industry will use hogsheads and butts and barriques. And like in the Scotch whiskey industry, they're getting barrels or casks, I should say, from all over the place. And those different casks can lend a multitude of flavors to that spirit. But here in the US, we're kind of constrained to that new charred oak barrel. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the difference, right? Bourbon is fantastic because it's always bourbony. Mm-hmm. And you can dig in, you can always know you're going to get that great, beautiful oaky flavor going on. Scotch whiskey kind of spreads out. It's like all over the place. If you really want to dig in and find new flavors, Scotch whiskey, like if you want to get really adventurous, Scotch whiskey can be your friend. And it's not all smoky. A lot of people think like, oh, it's Scotch whiskey equals smoke. There's about 10 to 12 distilleries that do smoky Scotch whiskey as a regular. The other 125 or so don't do smoky whiskey.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know how much you guys smoke cigars. Obviously you both smoke a cigar tonight. Again, one of the big things, how I literally got turned on to you guys is through in 2024, the first release or my first release of your cigar. Do you find that cigars, in your opinion, and I'm sure it is, pair better with Scotch than with bourbon, or?
So I think that's subjective. I think that's completely subjective. I think that, guys who love bourbon and rye and American spin, forget about American single malt for 1 second, but usually bourbon and rye, right? They're into that, and they'll pair whatever cigar they're looking for and doing that all the time, right? Scotch, I always find is, actually, I will say this, the Scotch geeks and nerds who go down that rabbit hole, I find actually sometimes they're less, apt to pair cigars with their whiskey. It's interesting. I actually do find with Scotch, it's more with the bourbon and rye people. They love pairing it with cigars. The Scotch geeks really don't do it as much, and that's kind of where my genesis of how the cigar came about, where I wanted to pair these two loves together, and kind of do this project. But I think again it goes back to subjectiveness. Look, like tonight I could have paired it with a rye, which I love, but I wanted to see how it would pair with a sweet, interesting Scotch, and it's just to me this is actually a perfect pairing, especially on a hot night like tonight here in Connecticut. So it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I you know, and I know Scotch drinkers are just, I don't know, they're at a different level, and so I wondered if they don't want to ruin, and I say ruin, I don't want it. I mean, they don't want to.
Sometimes you do find that, like, I think to your point, Mike, right? They don't want to, like, oh, why would you ruin the Scotch like that? But all it is just take it to another level, right? If you're doing a pairing, just take it to a whole other level. And even goes back to, we can talk about this going down the rabbit hole. Even when I was doing this research and project with the cigar and using a barrel to finish the cigar in, or finish the aging process or fermentation process with it, I could tell you how many cigar manufacturers I spoke to. One of them actually being the hat you're wearing right now, where he actually, if you recall, he has these limited edition cigars, the Will of Peace. And I spoke to Pete about that, and Pete's like, I don't want that barrel messing with tobacco. I literally just dipped. He said it was the filler in the binder. I think he put in a Willet barrel that he had for a very short period of time, and then he did it like that. So a lot of the times, especially from the cigar manufacturer's viewpoint, when you look at these kind of funky things of let's use a barrel to finish and stuff like that, they don't want that to alter the tobacco, right? They have a profile they want there at all times. This project I wanted the opposite of what they were trying to accomplish. And again, to the effect that this is our 4th edition, right? Is it a novelty cigar, or now we actually have a brand, right? It's our 4th time doing it, and I think this one is the most palatable for a cigar smoker, and I think even for the whiskey or bourbon drinker, whoever might be, or Single Cask Nation member, right? This cigar still gives you that influence of the barrel from Balcones that we did as well.
Yeah. It's a couple things with the cigar you guys are smoking. We have an Aganorsa group that meets every month, and so because that got released 2 months ago. Was it 2 months ago?
Got released in, what was this, in May?
Yeah,
it was
May.
Yeah.
May.
So on our
June,
April,
July, 2 months ago.
Yeah, so on our April event, I said to Terrence, haven't heard anything. Are we getting another single cask release? And he said, don't tell anybody. And there's 26 of us on the show. And he's like, don't tell anybody, but they're coming out. And we're like, so he literally raffled off 4 cigars. He raffled off 4 of your cigars. And he's like, if I send these to you and you win, you have to promise you can smoke it, but you cannot post it on social media until they officially announce it. So you do have a brand. I've got news for you. You do have a brand. I look forward to it. I mean, it's like, okay, 2 years. Is it coming out? And I'll corner Terrence and say, what's going on?
So I'll pull back the curtain a little bit on Terrence and all that. Look, you have to realize something, like because our Single Cask Nation, let alone what I do, right? It's not the main thing of Single Cask Nation, right? It's this, and I have to get on the Aganorsa schedule, right, for production, right? That in and of itself is very, very tough, right? They're producing so many cigars for themselves and obviously for other brands. Talked about the independent bottling, right? We also have that in cigar land where people can white label cigars all the time. Right, Aganorsa being a very prominent one that they don't hide from the other brands they produce for. So imagine us, like, we're only producing 200 to 300 boxes, right, and getting on that schedule. And as Terrence will tell you, and probably spoke about it on the group as well, right, the labor intensiveness of this project, of then you have to roll it, then he has to watch it in the barrel, then he has to put the bands on, right? It's literally a 24-hour, 48-hour process where I'm literally stopping production for everyone else's brand, including themselves, and he's focusing on our project. So it's a big kudos to him and to Aganorsa for doing this. And I know it. I know what goes on to it, even so much as where one of the famous texts, I think I still saved it, where Terrence, we were on a group chat. It was us, our partnership with Two Guys Cigars, Terrence like, how the hell do you open up the barrel? Yeah, no, the barrel got shipped down in Miami. He's like, what the hell do I do with this? And 10 seconds later, he's like, oh, one of the guys from Cuba, he knows how to, he popped open the bung, no problem. But again, it's all those steps now.
Yeah.
That now we have it down. Now Terrence knows how to do it. Now Terrence knows like the labor intensiveness. I get a text message of cursing nonstop. I hate this. but again, the product speaks for itself, and I think the cigar is a damn good cigar.
Yeah.
That I think people really have enjoyed.
Yeah, he mentioned how much he loves doing this project. So
after it's done,
Yeah.
it's done, yeah.
That's
kind of
good to hear.
interested in hearing about the whole process. Like, you started with a certain blend that you wanted to have your cigar, and how did you pick, or had they done a barrel aging cigar previously, or they had to learn all that?
Great question. So I started this project when I met Terrence. I think it was in 2011, and then actually by the first Jewbilee that Joshua had in New York City, he's like, we're having cigars, and I, being friends with him, I'm like, what do you know about cigars? What are you doing? He's like, oh yeah, could you help out with that? So I became the default guy of getting the cigars for the Jewbilee, which then turned into, I have a barrel here. I called up Terrence. I'm like, Terrence, you know my love of whiskey, and I love what you're doing. Have you ever done a barrel aged project? And he's like, no. He's like, sounds interesting. Let me shop it around. So we shopped it because we all know about this, how it all works here, right? Right. We can't distribute cigars. Right? Single Cask Nation doesn't have that license, so you have to work with a retailer. So you have to shop the project to the retailer. We ended up with two guys who were incredibly supportive, Dave and the team up there. And so they took on the financial risk of doing the project, which was out of left field. And they're like, okay, we'll do it. And then going back, Marty, to your question, so we had about, the first time we did this, it was about 3 months of R&D, where we had a blend that we all agreed on. Great, we love the brand, we love the size. How long do you put the freaking cigar in there for? Right? That's the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to cigars and the way it's still a living, breathing product even after it's rolled, right? The aging, it still picks up other flavors, even through the cellophane, right? How it's so porous, it can still sponge it up. So we did various trial runs of leaving the cigar in for a month and even less time. I will tell you this, peeling back the third, a month is too long to leave a cigar in a wet barrel. It became too spongy, screwed up the entire smoking process, and you're smoking alcohol, which is not a pleasant, and the cigar wasn't lighting. We found the right mix of what it is, and on top of that, Terrence actually creates shelves in the barrel now, where he puts cigars to let it be there for a certain period of time, and we leave it in there, and then he takes it out. So the key thing though is we agree on size. So we've had various sizes, throughout the four runs that we've done. So we have the size, we create the blend. All three of us, Single Cask Nation, Aganorsa, and two guys agrees on the blend. And once that's ready to go, boom, we're off to the races. It then blends complete, size is complete. Terrence does his magic with the barrel, puts the bands on, and we agree on that, and off it goes. But it's now we have it down pat where, Terrence knows, kind of what it is. We all agree on the blend. Now sometimes we'll tweak it a little bit here and there, but it's really not much back and forth because I can see now. I know where Terrence's palate's at. I know exactly where two guys' palate's at because we've done this before. And, Joshua lets me run with the project, so it's fantastic.
Do you know where Dave's palate's at? Because that's amazing.
At this point, I do. I really, really do, because I already know what he's going to okay and what he's not going to okay. So I actually liked, it was the last one we did, I think back in 24. I liked one that he vetoed it, and I'm like, okay, we'll go with the other one. And that was fun, yeah. No, and I kind of knew I was pushing the limit on the other one.
He's a character. We hope to one day have him on our show. It'll be fun to have him.
He is awesome.
So you talked about the different cask sizes. Do you always do the same size cask for your aging, or?
So that's a good question. I think so far to date, all of the casks that we've worked with have been barrel size cask, 53 gallons. There may have been a hogshead. There may have been one that was slightly larger, but I think they've all been 53 gallon casks. Because we've been working with domestic spirits. usually if we haven't imported any Scotch whiskey casks over. That's something that we may need to do, Yoni. Bring over a big sherry butt or something.
If you, like I said, I've always pushed it with various casks. So far we've done a lot of American stuff.
Are you going to jail?
Jonathan? I think he's going to jail.
I am going to jail. No, there's actually a massive construction 2 blocks away. And in Connecticut, they have the police there, so it's fantastic.
It's the jail they're sending you to. That's what it is.
There's a party coming on my way, so that's fine. I had to have the headset in. It's crazy. No, but again, it goes back to like also what's available. Actually, it's another point to this, Marty. Just adding more complexity to the project is like, all right, I know I can get a barrel from Single Cask Nation from Joshua, but what's it going to be? And so up until now, we've only done, basically bourbon and rye. And then I'm like, what funkiness can you get? Because I could tell what's on the calendar. Like, oh, we're going to do a Balcones release. We're going to do a Wesson release. I'm like, can I have that barrel? No, that barrel is going somewhere else. Like, I have this barrel. Oh, maybe. And so this Balcones barrel, which I love the guys over at Balcones. It's great. And to have this peated barrel on top of that was going to be like, okay, now we might be pushing a limit. Will it be too much? And it worked beautifully. So again, this goes back to like science, trial and error, a little differentiating things here and there, but it's never like a set recipe. It's like 2 years comes. I usually start the email chain like 18 months in, knowing that how long it takes back and forth. Hey, we're doing this. Yes, we're doing this. How many boxes? Great. What barrels available? And I start getting all the checklists going and all that stuff. See, at this point now we have it all set, but it could change, batch to batch, every year to every year. So,
do you have a commitment from Terrence for future that you can share? I mean, are we going to see this for the next 4, 6, 8 years?
So this project seems to be a success. Right, and so there's definitely demand for it, and we'll talk a little bit about what's going to go on with Whiskey Jewbilee. It seems to be fantastic. There's no plans for us to stop it, but we're going to revisit it in about a year or so to see what the next steps are. But yeah. So there's no official commitment, but I know Terrence is always yes, as long as the retailers are on board, and 2 guys have been incredibly supportive. They love the project, and so that's fantastic for us.
I want to get to Whiskey Jewbilee, but hold on. Matt wants to ask a question, which I think is actually a pretty good question. Matt wants to know, is there a true difference in experience with the size and shape of glass you use for the whiskey?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent question. So, yeah, I typically use a glass like this. Some people call them Glencairn. Like Glencairn is a brand, but it's like this tulip shaped. And the idea behind it, you've got one right there, right? So the idea behind it is the bottom of the glass sort of opens it up, lets the spirit breathe a little bit, and then the end of it kind of focuses it a little bit. So you open the whiskey up and then focus the scent a little bit, like if you want to explore flavors. Like a rocks glass just sort of lets all of the scent, all of the aroma kind of dissipate. So you kind of lose a lot of the nuance that's going on. But, if the whiskey is about what's happening here, stick it in a rocks glass, throw an ice cube in there, like have a great time. Mm-hmm. But if you're looking to explore flavor, do one of these. But there's also something to be said for, there's even wider glasses for older whiskeys that have a lower ABV to them that need to be opened up even more. I'm kind of a whiskey dork about that shit, but I have an older, I've got a glass specifically for older whiskeys that are kind of gentle. They're kind of, they need that opening up. But yeah, it makes a huge difference. You wouldn't think it would, but put them side by side. Put a rocks glass and then one of these side by side. A world of difference.
Interesting. Yeah. Now, I got to ask a question because I saw you do this. You shook your bottle. So I've never seen it. So I'm like, wait a minute here. I might just learn something. What's so
that it's become a habit.
Oh, okay.
But it's become a habit. But where it came from. So in the Scotch whiskey industry, a lot of whiskeys that are like like a lot of blends or single malts that are like 40% alcohol, 43% alcohol. They put caramel coloring in that whiskey either to maintain a consistent color or to just make it darker so it looks more like palatable. You want to, right? People drink color, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so there's a trick. If you take your whiskey, your bottle of whiskey, and you shake it, if the bubbles are white, there's no caramel coloring in your whiskey.
Huh.
If the bubbles are the color of your whiskey, there is caramel coloring in your whiskey.
Wow. Wow.
And you won't find it in Maker's Mark. It's illegal for American spirits to put caramel coloring.
This is a
Really?
Woodford Reserve double oak.
Yep.
That's right.
They won't be able to do it. It's illegal to put caramel coloring in American whiskey.
Looks white.
Yeah, so you're fine.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
There you go. We've all learned something. Well, I've learned something.
Everyone on the show is going to start shaking their glasses. One the bottle.
Yeah, don't shake the glass. Shake the bottle.
You're going to delight me. Can I have that bottle real quick? I'm going to shake it to see what I'm getting here. I do want to mention, David mentioned this. We had Steve Sock on our show a couple weeks ago. We asked him about barrel aging tobacco. I'm not saying Steve was wrong. I'm not saying Steve was talking about barrel aging unrolled tobacco. So he was talking about the challenges of that, where you guys, and I knew this when the question was asked, was you guys barrel age the cigar after it's been rolled. So I think there's a little bit of a difference there. Steve said it was a gimmick. I don't know if a gimmick's the right word. I think it's like anything. It's like a limited edition. You're highlighting something unique, and so it's, hey, this is what we're doing as a single run.
Right. Also, Steve is. I mean, I've spoken to Steve dozens of times, but Steve is the guy who is so into his tobacco, right, and he's a purist, right, and he is a purist when it comes to blending and sizing and how this can, when he talks about new size of a cigar that he has before, and he's talking about the nuances of there. Steve smokes, I spoke about this, a shit ton of cigars every day, right? He has a palate. I mean, I think his palate's fantastic. I love the cigars he produces and all that. So I'm a big fanboy of his stuff. But it's interesting, right? He's geeked out about that. If you actually speak to him, what he pairs his cigars with, right? His go-to whiskey is Lagavulin 12 or Lagavulin 16. He loves a peated Scotch with that because his cigars usually are very, very strong. And again, that strength does marry or pairs very well with the peated Scotch. But I've spoken about that. I'm like, and you can try it. And I think someone was saying they were smoking a Red Meat Lovers Club. You have like a small barrel. You want to see what an infusion can kind of do. His cigars, I guarantee, because the strength and the flavor and the flavoring, but the flavor of his tobacco that comes out and nuances there, you put into a barrel like that for a short period of time, it might add some nuances there. Now he may say, "Oh, that's gimmicky," but again, it's a different. I like doing this, or I think this project is interesting because it does think about it of how you ferment and how you pair the two together during the process, not just after everything's all done.
Yeah. I mean, La Reem was on last week, and Camacho did a bourbon barrel aged cigar through Dojo that people absolutely are begging for another run of it because it was just fantastic.
So they don't do, from my understanding from what they do from Camacho, the reason why I love our project is that they don't do the entire cigar in there. I think they do either like a binder filler type thing. I don't think they put the wrapper in there when they do that. And I forgot which barrel they used for the dabbed up Winston Churchill late hour. They also used a binder and filler. They did not put the wrapper in there when dabbed up did that. Yeah. And actually, Joshua, you should know they used a Scotch Malt Whiskey Society barrel for that project.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Do you know anyone who tries to do this at home? Like, can you get like a small barrel and do this yourself if you wanted to?
So you're gonna laugh. You know who does it? In Chicago, and I bought a couple of their cigars. So if you go to Up Down Cigar, right? They used to have the Goose Island, right? Barrel aged, right? They did. I remember in front. I haven't been to the shop in a bit, but they used to have the Goose Island stout barrel aged cigars in front, which I believe it was a fun project from Up Down. They would take their house cigar, whatever cigar, and use one of the stout barrels to do that. So yeah, there are places that do it small, not as a full project, I know there are a couple other brands that have done it, but I think the way that the care that we take to do this is unique, because again, we want to really ensure that the cigar smoker enjoys it and they're not smoking, alcohol. And the flip side, where the introduction for the whiskey drinker, American, bourbon, Scotch, you name it, right, can also approach a cigar in a different manner.
Awesome. Yeah. Let's take a quick break here, unless you got something else, Marty, and then we'll come back. We're going to come back and talk about Jewbilee 2026.
Step into luxury at Ultimate Cigar Lounge, where passion meets perfection. Discover a world of premium cigars, hand-selected from the finest tobacco regions. From bold beginners to seasoned aficionados, our curated collection delights every palate. Grab a cigar from our amazing selection, pair it with freshly brewed coffee or fine spirits, and sit back and relax in an atmosphere of elegance and warmth. Ultimate Cigar Lounge, your haven for unforgettable moments. Visit us today and ignite your senses. Ultimate Cigar Lounge, located in Villa Park, Illinois. Looking for the ultimate eyewear experience in Chicagoland? Discover Eyewear Fix, your premier eyewear store for over 28 years. From sunglasses to sports glasses to safety gear, we've got it all at every price point. Bring your prescription, and we'll handle the rest. Our appointment-only office offers a private, concierge-style experience tailored to your busy schedule. Call or text Chris at 630-853-4167 to book your visit and see why Eyewear Fix surpasses expectations. Eyewear Fix, where style meets precision. Get your fix today.
This episode of Chi-Town Cigars is brought to you by Aganorsa Leaf Cigars, where great cigars begin exactly where they should, with the tobacco. Grown from authentic Cuban seed tobacco on Aganorsa's own farms in Nicaragua, these cigars are built on flavor, balance, and craftsmanship. No gimmicks, no shortcuts. From the first light to the final draw, you taste the difference when the leaf comes first. Aganorsa Leaf Cigars. The leaf is our strength. My weak little there. I thought I got wind of Jewbilee 2026. I thought, Jonathan, you were on a call with us at some point, weren't you, for Aganorsa Acolytes? I thought there was something.
I was. I think it was the May one, or you're right. It was the May one or the June one recently where I mentioned that. Yeah, exactly. I hopped on because I saw Terrence is highlighting our cigar, so I'm like, all right, I'll be the good citizen and pop on for 2 seconds. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So he mentioned it. He mentioned Chicago, and it was like, I think probably a minute or two after their broadcast, I'm texting you going, wait a minute, wait, are you guys doing something in Chicago with whiskey and cigars? You got to come on our show. So it's exciting. I know I'm a part of the Facebook group, and hearing the teasers that you guys did about it, and then when it finally got announced, your nation went crazy. So tell everybody about it.
Yeah, they went absolutely crazy. Like we sold half the tickets in the first 2 days, which is amazing. So, I mean, yeah, I pinched myself there. So what is Whiskey Jewbilee? We started it in 2012 in New York City, and ran it through 2018. So it was New York City, Chicago, and then Seattle. And the idea behind the festival was we wanted to run a festival that we would want to go to. It was kind of like back to our independent bottling, right? We wanted to bottle the whiskeys that we would drink. So, when we would go to festivals, we'd go to a table and someone would pour us a whiskey, and sometimes it would be someone who didn't know anything about that whiskey. And it might be like a beautiful woman wearing something slinky, and that's, fine and all. But I wanted to know about the whiskey. And so one of the key things about our festival was everybody behind every table has to be directly related to that distillery or to that brand, and can talk about that brand. So that's something that definitely is a hallmark of Whiskey Jewbilee. From the get-go, all of our food had to be kosher as well. When we started in New York City, part of the reason why we started was Whiskey Fest New York moved from like a Tuesday, Wednesday to a Friday night, which in New York City, that doesn't really fly, right? There's more like black hats and beards than there are kilts. And so we did it on a Thursday, and so we want to make sure that everybody can eat, line their stomachs, and just have a good time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so kick-ass kosher food for everyone, and anyone can eat. Knowledgeable people behind the table, and because it's hosted by us, by Single Cask Nation, we have, around the U.S. we have a little over 10,000 people. We call them the Nation members. And it's camaraderie. Like I told you before we hit record, on day one, we had people from about 25, 26 states purchasing tickets. They're flying into Chicago to come to this. There's people from Canada and Scotland flying out to this. Like it's, when we mothballed it in 2018, the reason why is we wanted to grow the business into other markets, right? We didn't want to just stick within the US. We wanted to expand. And we were just two guys. Now we have Jess Lomas. She looks after our other markets, but we just didn't have the bandwidth to do anything. And so when it went away, the number one question from 2018 up until now is like, when's the Jewbilee coming back? When's it coming back? And so here it is, 15th anniversary of Single Cask Nation. And we thought Chicago because it's central, right? It's smack dab in the middle of the country. We have a huge, contingency of Nation members in Chicago. And Chicago's always been so good to Single Cask Nation. So we said, fuck it, bring it back to Chicago. Let's do it. And people are happy about it. So yeah, we're looking at hundreds of pours, excellent food, cigars again. The other thing that we do too as well, like this may sound weird. We go to a lot of festivals, and I don't like paying the extra money for the VIP ticket. Mm-hmm. I think the VIP tickets, it annoys me. Yeah. Personally, as a whiskey lover. So there are no VIP tickets. We specifically charge a lower table price to exhibitors so that they can bring the higher end bottles for everybody to taste. We're not looking to make money on this festival. We're looking to create community so people can just have a, we're looking to create a space for people to come and have a good time and enjoy good shit.
And enjoy the whiskey. I mean, anybody that is at a table has got to be able to look, my gosh, okay, I've never had this before. I want to go out and buy a bottle, so I mean, exactly. you're going to create this excitement where brands are going to find out, oh, wait a minute here. People are buying this stuff that, you might not see this huge uptick in sales, but you're going to see enough to go, all right, it was worth our time. So,
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And that's, from a brand perspective, as a brand owner myself, justifying paying the money to go to a festival is difficult because here in the US, you can't sell at a festival. Mm-hmm. So you don't always know if there's a return on investment. And one of the things that we've heard, regardless of what city we were in, is the retail partners that we work with see sales at the end. Okay. Right. Okay. And so that's been great. And that's part of the reason why, brands come back and they want to exhibit. So, even before we launched ticket sales to attendees, I think we had, 95% of our tables sold or claimed, I should say. So, wow. It is going to be a great event.
So how large of an event is this, number of attendees wise?
So that's another good point. We limit it. We keep it to 450 people. So it's going to be Artifact Events on North Ravenswood. I don't know if you know it. We keep it to 450 people with the idea that it gives people breathing room to move around so that they don't feel they have to get bang for their buck. Tickets are $115. And the last thing we want is for people to feel like they're doing this and they go to a table and just hope that liquid falls in, right? We want people to have room, and just enjoy themselves and have that space to move and time to ask questions. And, enough of us have been to those festivals where you just feel like you're doing this.
Right. And this is over how many hours?
3.5 hours. Yeah, no. Listen, I run the festival. 3.5 hours is enough for me.
How many whiskeys can you try in 3.5 hours and be able to walk out the door?
Oh man,
that's subjective and define walking.
Well, the interesting thing is, I think the other fantastic thing you did is I checked out the whole thing. You guys have a designated driver badge or entry, so I think that's fantastic. I think you're thinking way ahead of the game to be able to go. If I do partake in an over exuberant amount of tastings and I don't feel comfortable to drive them, I've got somebody with me that I know, hey, you can, and they're not paying the full price. They're paying a reduced price because they're not drinking. So I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. Got to look out for people, right?
They come smoke cigars with me. That's it.
Yeah. No, that's, I was going to say I was at a cigar event, Naganorsa event, a couple of weeks ago. Marty was there, and there was a representative there from, I can't think of the name of his company, the brand now for the whiskey.
The one in Iowa. I can't.
Yeah, it's an Iowa company, but it was great. What's that?
Cedar Ridge. That's one in Iowa.
Cedar Ridge. Yep. Cedar Ridge.
Yeah. Cedar Ridge. Yeah.
And Joshua did a great job. Joshua and his wife did a fantastic job where I tried a pour from quite a few of his, but I ended up going out the next Sunday. Told my wife, we're going to the mega store out here in this area. I don't know if we can mention it. We're getting dinged by YouTube, but hey, we're going out here, and I picked up a bottle right away. And I told him I said, hey, based on your recommendation, and I'm nursing that, I think I've got one pour left in that bottle, and I'm like, okay, we'll get more. So yeah, those events definitely, when you have the chance to talk to brands, I think naturally push you to, hey, if I like this, I'm going to go out and buy it. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, yep.
Yeah, we've got a great bourbon company here, distiller here in Chicagoland area. Have you guys heard of Whiskey Acres?
Yes, where are they located? They're
DeKalb.
DeKalb, yeah. I've heard of them. I haven't tried their stuff yet, but I've only heard good things about them.
It's Marty and I got a chance to do a tour with them, and the backstory, and anybody that's in the Chicagoland area, I highly recommend going up to Whiskey Acres. I think it's $5 or $15 to do the tour, and they take you through their whole their whole bottling process, which is volunteers. They literally put out on Facebook, hey, we have this grouping that's ready to be bottled. We need volunteers. And that list fills up in about an hour and a half. And people show up to bottle for them, and then they ship it out. But
get to see their still and their rick house, and then tasting. And I will say you should go on a full stomach.
Yes. But they hired, they were telling the story. Marty, correct me if I'm wrong, but they hired the former distiller for Jim Beam, and they brought him there to DeKalb, to Whiskey Acres, and started to talk to him and show him around and stuff like that. And he's like, oh yeah, this is impressive. And he said, okay, they said, okay, we want to hire you. And he said, no, you don't understand. You don't hire me. I decide if I want to work with you. And he goes, I'll spend another week here examining your whole process, examining the corn, the water, and everything like that. And then I'll make the decision. And they're like, oh, okay. So he spent a week there. He looked at him and said, you guys have as good of water here as they do in Tennessee. And he goes, and all of your corn is grown right here on your property. I'm in. And he spent, I forget how long he spent with them, but they do some fantastic bourbon and rye, and it's great. It's
Illinois has the best corn.
Yeah.
All the people from Iowa and Nebraska. No.
You're not biased at all.
We got to have something. We don't have much going on here, so we got to have,
Matt says, any thoughts on any future sites? He's in the Twin Cities, so he wants to know if you're going to go there.
Oh, you love that question.
I do love that question. I do. Well, I'll tell you what, I love the Twin Cities. I usually head out there once per year. So yeah, this event is meant to be a one-off. Now, having said that, let's see what happens. In like I said earlier on, when we started this company, it was two people. It was me and Jason. In 2019, we hired on Jess Lomas, who's based in Glasgow. But in early 2024, we were acquired by a larger drinks company called Artisanal Spirits. They're based out of Edinburgh. And so now we actually have a larger group of people behind us that we can work with to help us with things. And we'll see how this goes. I mean, if I had my druthers, I would bring this back full force. Don't tell anybody I said that. Don't tell Jason I said that. Hopefully, Jason hates social media. He doesn't watch YouTube. He doesn't do anything like that. So he'll never see this. But like mothballing the Whiskey Jewbilee hurt because I loved it just as much as the attendees loved it. And Jason did too. But, for me, like Jason was always behind the table pouring the whiskeys. I was walking around kibitzing with everybody and just hanging out and bullshitting and having a good time. So I miss all of that. So being able to do this again will be great. So we'll see. Let's see what happens in 2027. Will it be the Twin Cities? I don't know. Will we bring back New York? I don't know. Will we do this again? Who knows? All I'll say is watch this space.
It's got to be, because again, you guys run such a parallel to cigars. Cigar nerds, enthusiasts, I guess what we're calling our viewers and stuff like that, love getting together. I mean, herfs are huge. They love talking about cigars. I gotta believe it's the same thing with Jewbilee. You're getting together. You've got 450 people that are talking about something that they're passionate about, and they want to know and they want to have a chance. So I've got to believe for you, Joshua, it's just pure joy to walk around and talk to people that understand the passion that you have. And so it's not really a work. It's sort of like a social time of going, hey, I'm working, but I get a chance to go talk to the nation, and at the same point, be able to talk about stuff that you all understand.
It's one of the few times where we get to see the people who either buy whiskey from our website or buy it from the shelves. And, quite often, you see the name come through on our website, or you see them in the Facebook page, or they've emailed you or whatever. And now you get to see them in person. That's really cool. Or you see them on Instagram, you get to see them in person. That's really cool. Like just maybe last month, I was in Chicago. It was when you had the tornadoes.
Which time?
I don't know. That time.
We're leading the nation in tornadoes right now. So that tells you a lot about Chicago.
Corn and tornadoes.
You
guys have the best tornadoes. But so I was doing a series of events, and I met 4 or 5 Single Cask Nation members who I'd been corresponding with over email for years. They may have been listening to the podcast or buying the whiskey or both. And I've gotten, I've grown a relationship with them just emailing. Yeah. And as soon as I saw them, it was like, I had to hug them. I had to say hello. We had to just start bullshitting. Like, that's what the Jewbilee is. And it's not just for me, it's for everybody. Like, it's a very strange thing. Like, yes, we're an independent bottler that we sell whiskey, but the people who buy our stuff, it's a community.
Mm-hmm.
It's more than just people buying whiskey. We've created a community, and people have really bought into it and identify with it. And I think it's pretty special. Like, it's not just us that built it; they themselves helped build it, and I think it's really special. And I think the Jewbilee is sort of the jewel of that.
Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Jonathan, you guys are doing something with the cigar for this Jewbilee, right? Isn't there some sort of aspect with?
So we're working on that. It's still in the works.
Okay.
We're potentially doing something very, very cool that I think that if it gets, we're gonna know probably next month. If it does happen this way, it will be arguably the coolest seminar, and I'm very biased here, but I'm going to say it. It will be the coolest seminar ever done at a whiskey and or cigar thing. I know the Cigar Aficionado, like the Big Smoke seminars where they tried doing the whiskey pairing. This will be a whole other level. Potentially, I don't want to ruin it yet because it also hasn't been finalized yet. And I know Joshua, I'm chomping at the bit, and Joshua knows where I'm at with this. But
Yep.
I'll leave it at that. That if this does get pulled off, and if you haven't gotten a ticket yet, I would argue to say once it gets announced, God willing, very, very soon, it will be the coolest seminar ever, really, really ever done. It'll be a true cigar whiskey pairing.
Awesome. Fantastic. Yeah. I know Terrence teased. Yeah. I know Terrence teased a little bit about that, saying that you were working on something. So
yeah, correct.
That's awesome.
It's still in the works. It's still in motion. A lot of, there's still not, you're working with other companies. You got to get their blessings also. But if it does go on, it'll be a very, very cool seminar.
That's fantastic.
Arnold Schwarzenegger likes to dip the end of his cigar in his whiskey. And he's on Cigar Aficionado series. Are you saying you're having Arnold Schwarzenegger is doing a seminar for you?
That's shit. Who told him?
That's it. We got him going there. It'll be a Terrence Arnold, pairing. I don't know if you saw Terrence's post today. He was posting about how Arnold, some at the Big Smoke one time, and he says, "Oh, you're just as tall as me. Get the fuck out of here and move on." Totally busting his chops. But but Terrence has been great. We've had Aganorsa part of our Whiskey Jewbilee in the past, and we're working on that as well. So yeah.
No, it's fantastic. Like Terrence says, he'll steal anybody's idea and sell it as his own. So he'll be more than happy to say, "This is all my idea. This is all my idea."
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, just don't ask him for food recommendations, right? We
or food pictures.
Yeah, food pictures, even that. We all know that history with him. Yes.
All right, let's go.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
So, I think a lot of our audience is more bourbon-y side of things than Scotch. So, if you're not into Scotch, how would you suggest getting into a Scotch?
Oh, that's a really good question. So if you've got a bourbon palate, I think the best Scotch whiskeys to get into would be something matured, like in a sherry cask that isn't smoky. Look for something that says Glen and it's matured in a sherry cask because it's not going to have any peat in it. There won't be any smoke. And you're going to have a sweetness, like a rich, sweet character coming through. And you're not going to have that oakiness, that kind of oak sweetness, but you'll have sort of a fruity sweetness coming through.
Is that what the other thing stands for? What does that mean?
No, so Glen just basically means like a meadow, right? That's just Scots Gaelic for a meadow. But like a lot of the distilleries in Scotland that start with Glen, they're located up in the Speyside region of Scotland. And most of those distilleries up there just simply don't run peated spirit. It's all non-peated, sweeter, richer kind of whiskey that will more easily fit a bourbon palate. The other thing that I'll say as well, and this is a shameless plug, one of the things that we do to really try to bring people over to Scotch whiskey, bourbon people over to Scotch whiskey, is we try to bottle Scotch whiskeys that have been matured in new charred oak barrels. So you get the maltiness, but that new charred oak barrel, you get that bourbony quality too. So you get to understand the Scotch whiskey spirit, but in, with that framed in that oak cask, in that new charred oak cask. So it's that bridge from bourbon into Scotch whiskey. And so we've done a few of those. And if people go to our website, singlecasknation.com, we have some bottles on our website for sale now that have that. But then we also have retail bottlings as well that you can find at shops, in Chicago and all around. Like if you go to a link, it'll say retail bottlings, and you can look at the details and it'll let you know. We're very transparent about everything we do. It'll let you know what cask that whiskey was matured in. And if it says new charred oak, then you'll know that those flavors will be more bourbon-like.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mentioned Glenmorangie G18, which is a ridiculously amazing bottle. But usually, like, again, if you want to go entry level, the two bottles I usually tell people to go to that usually is on my shelf for those people is usually a Glen Rothes, the basic low-end line, like $30-40. I think it's still called the Select Reserve. I know they've constantly changed their name over the years. And a Glenmorangie G10, not even going up to 18. Like, to me, those are basic, easy, relatively inexpensive bottles that, like, again, you want to try something for $30-40. Worst case scenario, it sits on your shelf and you get bored for your friends and they come over. But those are two, I would say, very light entry-level bottles. They're not cash strength, but sometimes, although bourbon guys love the higher ABV, they love the the real they call it hazmat sometimes, but they love their intensity in there. But yeah, start even, see if you like that flavor profile. Then obviously you can always work yourself up.
In Chicago, we always tell people they got to try Malort.
You guys now have a barrel-aged Malort now, I saw.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple TikTok videos of the guy trying Malort for the first time. It's always
oh my god,
so good.
See their reactions.
So good.
I love it.
I make a Malort Negroni. It's not so bad. Yeah, it's not so bad.
I gotta say, this is really good. This is really
Craig 13. It's $65. It is dynamite. It is a unique thing. I'm a big Craig fan. They usually have a Spirit of Speyside Festival release once a year. That's usually a sherry finish. Those are. I actually poured it for Joshua a couple of weeks ago. It is dynamite. Mm-hmm. Dynamite. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of my favorite distilleries.
The last thing my wife needs is me getting into Scotch now. Scotch, bourbon, and cigars. There goes all my money.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Oh, all of us are poor. We're whiskey rich and cash poor.
Yeah, I started a new job and I said this now pays for the additional cigars and bourbon. And she's like, "Oh, okay, there we go." I said, "There you go."
There you go.
Matt wants to know if you ever heard of the 45th Parallel Distillery, which he says is in New Richmond, Wisconsin, which I have a cabin near there, and I've never heard of it. So I need to go look that up.
There's so many of these. Close to 3,000 distilleries in the U.S.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's wild. So that's sort of a long way of saying no. I haven't heard of them, but yeah, I'd love to know what they do. I haven't heard of them, but
I'll go visit and report back.
Yeah.
There you go.
A lot of them back in the day used to source whiskey. That was the other thing. Right? A lot of them are like, you ever found a new distillery opened up and they have an 8-year-old. I'm like, no, they usually sourced it. Because you got to start a brand off, you got to get some cash flow in there, which makes sense.
Yeah.
But again, what you're finding is in High West is a great example of that, right? High West started off as just sourcing it, and then they started distilling their own stuff. And now a lot of the old, by older barrels or older bottlings, you're going to get source stuff, and if you buy the newer stuff, it's stuff that they make right now. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we've got a crazy little thing we called Wild Tales. We're going to do that, but everybody else stick around because after Wild Tales, we got a little surprise for you. So let's do the Wild Tales from the Wild Side.
Get ready for a tale that you won't believe. Wild Tales. Welcome to Wild Tales from the Wild Side, brought to you by Drew Estate. Mike, what stories do you have for us today?
All right, so here we go. Question: what's the fastest you've ever regretted moving somewhere?
Fastest what?
Fastest you've ever regretted moving somewhere. So you've decided, I'm going to move to a different city, different state, different country. Anybody regret moving there rather quickly?
Oh man, yeah. I moved to Waterbury, Connecticut. Never moved to Waterbury, Connecticut. It's just because it's brown dirt. It's not good. Yeah, that's my. People who live in Waterbury know exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, we have a white bearded wildebeest that arrived at the Fort Wayne Zoo. And after 72 hours, he decided, I'm done. I've been here long enough. I'm out. So he escaped his enclosure, wandered into another exhibit through a shared pond, and forced the zoo to evacuate the African savanna area. The funny part about this whole thing is after they tried to corral this thing, he decided, okay, I'm going to go back home. And he just wandered back into his own habitat and just like, okay, I've decided the grass isn't greener on the other side. I'm going back home. So, yes. So.
That's great.
Yeah.
Did you see the guy who got tossed by the buffalo?
Yes. Yeah. A grandfather.
Yeah. He got
Yes.
pretty bad.
I saw that yesterday. It's
Yeah.
great.
That's crazy. Speak a foreign language? Anybody? Speak a foreign language? I
Speak
tried.
Hebrew. That's it.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
a loose goat.
Latin.
Yeah. Oh. A loose goat led Washington deputies on a 20-minute chase through traffic. One of the deputies decided he was going to try and speak goat to get this goat.
Did it work?
No. They cornered him. They cornered him in a staircase and then eventually put him in the squad car and took him back out. So, yeah. Another question for you. Actually happened to me? Have you ever been in the middle of shopping and decided, oh my gosh, I've got to go to the bathroom?
Oh yeah.
When have I not? Like, come on.
I've left the cart right there in like a hidden aisle, ran to the bathroom, and then I got the cart back. Right. Because sometimes if you leave the cart and it's not fully filled up, right? Some worker there will take take the cart and put the stuff back in the shelf.
Yes.
So you have to strategically place the cart somewhere where you can still get it back after you're done.
At least you made it. At least you made it to the bathroom. A black bear wandered into a shopping mall on an Alaskan military base. His shopping list, he decided he wanted a peach, but then after having the peach, he decided, I got to go to the bathroom. So he went right there in the middle of the floor, and then he took off. He wandered out of the store. So no browsing, just an impulse buy and a lot of chaos. So. All right, another question for you. If you had to run from the police, because I'm assuming none of you guys have, but if you had to run from the police, where would you hide? Where would be your hideout?
Oh man. You know what? I would hide near the police station. They'd never search there.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Right in plain sight.
Yeah. Well, the police here decided they were searching for a suspect and found him hiding inside his refrigerator. So, why the cops decided to check the refrigerator is beyond me. I can tell you that's a good detective work. So he was arrested and later sentenced on multiple charges. Yeah, I don't recommend hiding in the refrigerator. I just don't think that's a good choice. So, but that wraps up another episode of Wild Tales from the Wild Side.
The intro was great.
Yeah, from wild animal encounters to job site disasters, backyard fails, and in-home mishaps that always start with, watch this. The best stories usually begin with a terrible decision. And when the dust settles and everybody somehow survives, light up a Drew Estate cigar. From the Liga Privada to acid, Drew Estates is made for stories worth telling. Drew Estates for the wild ones and the people who live to tell the tales. So for our fans and for anybody that's listening, the guys here have created a special discount code for Jubilee 2026. So enter the code CHI-town, so CHI-town in the promo code and get your ticket for $99. That is freaking fantastic. That's thank you guys very much for our listeners. It's for those of you in Chicago, it's a quick drive to the city. For me, it's about 90 minutes, but for the rest of everybody, it's probably a quick drive to the city. There you go. Thank you, Marty.
Cheers.
Enter that code, and it'll be a great time. Hopefully, Jonathan can work out his cigar tasting pairing seminar, which will be a great time. I look forward to it. I'm definitely. It's October 15th, so that'll be perfect. And it's obviously October 15th because it's your 15-year anniversary. Smart.
Right? Exactly. Gotta play with numbers.
It was easy. Once I saw it, I'm like, oh, this is easy to remember. I can remember this. I don't even need a show note to remember this. So,
and there's a link to the tickets right on our website, singlecasknation.com. Right at the top navigation, you'll see a link. It says Whiskey Jubilee tickets. Click that, brings you over. Promo code CHI-town, and you'll get your ticket for $99. There are the Eventbrite fees that they have you pay. Everybody knows that shit, but so there's that. But
and I highly recommend checking out the website or the podcast because I've listened to it quite a few times.
Awesome.
Jess is a character. I've heard her quite a few times on there. She's a character, so we're not as funny as you guys are, but you're a lot more educational than we are as well. So definitely check that out. Listen to them and listen to educate yourself on bourbons and scotch and all the great things. And check out their website. They have got some great prices. I was looking at it today, and I started putting stuff on my cart, and I thought I got to wait because if the fun size one finds out what I'm doing, I could be divorced a second time.
That's it. Also, there's about 30 boxes left of our cigar on with the two guys. So
really,
there's a small amount left. There might be a lot less after this if this seminar goes on. So that's it.
That was the word I heard, is that get them now because they could disappear really fast. So
yeah, I mean, most of this thing will sell out probably before the event, which is good, right? That's the whole point. The whole point is to do the project and sell it out. But if not, there'll be some lingering there, and there'll definitely be some other promotions and stuff. It'll be good.
I can tell you after this podcast, there'll only be 29 boxes left because if there's
there's
30 there, I've got to pick up another one. I picked up 2 last time, and I definitely want to pick up another one. So.
Yeah, this one, I think when it ages, it's going to get more interesting. I think this one's got, the peated barrel definitely helped with the influence of that cigar, but I think that as this ages, it's going to get very interesting. Some of those flavors are going to mellow out, and I think the tobacco will be more tobacco forward, which will be great for cigar smokers.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you both. I appreciate you taking your time. I'm glad you're not in jail, Jonathan. That would be a terrible thing to see.
Yeah, not yet. I have a great story for another time, but I almost got arrested last week. It was you couldn't make it up. It was a great story.
Oh my gosh. Well, Marty, close us out, buddy.
All right. Great show, guys. Joshua, Jonathan, thank you.
Thank you.
Learned a lot. Looking forward to meeting you guys in Chicago. And until then, everyone, put some smoke in the air.